Hey, we live. Chosen Ones, we live. How we doing? Yeah, girl. Tuning in live from that kitchen comfort. I decided that because I don't have any way to freaking record unless it's on like this device, which is like too small and annoying. And it also like gets storage like filled really quickly. Just gonna go live. Like if I'm gonna get all my devices hacked and my storage gets so full, even though everything's deleted, that I can't even film and upload for my channel, then your girl's gonna find a loophole because we're resilient and that's what we do on this channel. So I'm gonna go live. I don't need to just do like a regular video and upload it. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight too, is that when we get attacked from like spiritual warfare stuff, the more you get robbed. This is some nice tea that I'm drinking. I'm like into tea recently, and I think I'm gonna like get rid of coffee because coffee's annoying. I'm so over coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so over coffee. Like, this is delicious. Freaking so good. But when we have like something going for us and then other people see that, or like the enemy sees that, and then they do something and try and take it away, or they send an agent or a perp to come disrupt your progress, then our blessing is going to be even bigger. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I get to go live now because they've like done some weird stuff to like my storage or whatever, or like my laptop. It's like I'm unable to film. Like, even when I just go to the camera like on my laptop, and I've had this like laptop for literally like a year now, it's never done that to me. There's literally nothing in the camera gallery. I deleted everything. There's no reason why it shouldn't be recording. And that's what happened on my last laptop too. I tried to like start camera and do film, and it just gives me more motivation to continue to do what I do. If spiritual warfare and gang stalking and like whatever technology control that they have, because they obviously have quite a bit, then I'm going to figure out a loophole and go around it. And God is going to bless me more by having the opportunity to go live. So I know that, going live is like different and stuff. And I'm down for that. But I just needed to like show even to myself that like I am 100% resilient to their tactics, and I'm not going to be shushed. You can't shush me. No matter how much you like don't want to hear what I have to say. Like, the enemy is like trying so hard to attack me. And like, I was studying hard today on Mark the Messenger's channel and like the benefits of quitting weed. And then this other video came up and it was like the do's and don'ts of quitting weed. And I was like, okay, like cool. And I was like studying and taking that in. And then I'm not sure what happened, but like for the latter half of the day, like my mental health just nosedived, and I'm not sure what was the trigger per se, other than feeling inadequate, like myself, like unable to like go work out because like I feel like it's pushing my body because I just recently had that injury. So like whenever I get an injury, that's why I get so concerned, because it really affects my mental health. Like the physical injury affects my mental health. And then you like have to take time off work, and then it's less money. So injuries are hard or whatever. So, but today, like I felt it. And I've also noticed historically that Thursdays are particularly hard for me. So I just decided like, okay, taking it easy today. I did some heat therapy on my hip, and I still did like one audition, which is really good, and like that other YouTube video, like a couple of like 2 YouTube videos, and man, like it is like I just wanted to like also share like how like easy it is to get attacked when you're doing the right thing. So for anyone that is out there and like really going for what you want to do and you feel like you're getting attacked, but you like know that you're in God's glory and God's purpose, then like, please, this is like a video from my own like heart. Like this message is from my heart to like not give up. And I know how easy it starts to look when the option to give up, how easy that option starts to look when things start to pile up and there's expectations and obligations of you. It can be really challenging. And so I feel grateful because I had some family members that pulled through for me today, like my mom and my dad. But man, like what, I feel like I pray for protection and I still get like crazy attacked. So I was reading some Bible verses today too, and it was like Isaiah 41:13 really stuck out to me. It is, "For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you." I don't know what other notes are, but I was like, that's really, I don't know, I must have read that before at another time. Yo, I love this hat. This hat's so fresh, yo. And this is like the hat. This is the hat. Like, this is the hat. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the hat. No other hat is gonna ever top this hat. This is the hat. This is the hat that makes me like, this is gonna be the hat that like makes me iconic and like remembered for all of history or something. Like, this is the hat. You guys ever have like articles of clothing like that? So yeah, like Isaiah 41:13, "For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, for it is me that helps you." Like, it's me, like I am the one who helps you. And I must have read that at some other point and remembered it and liked it. But today when I read it, it struck different. You know, when that happens, you read something on a different day and it means something different to you, or it's more significant to you, or you like have more time and peace to understand the message. Well, that's what happened to me today. And I was just reading Bible verses for like 5 minutes to myself. And it was really healing. I was like, whoa, this is a really beautiful book. And just beware that if you're elevating, you will get attacked by spiritual warfare. And gang stalking is, I did a lot of studying today from Mark the Messenger. Like, if you guys haven't like checked out his channel, go check out his channel. It's like, woo, powerful stuff. I like worry sometimes about his safety because he like talks about such stuff that they don't want to be talked about. So, but we pray for him and he's totally fine and safe, can handle himself. And he also said too that when you're quitting, you will get even more attacked for that, because there's and then I was listening to this other sermon from this pastor on discernment, and it was like a sermon on discernment. It was very, very interesting. And he said that he was like talking to this woman, and then he had the awareness that he couldn't continue talking to her, or that the demon in her that was operating in her body didn't want him to continue to sharing the gospel with her. And I think they were like at a bus stop or subway stop or some transportation stop. And he said that he was aware that the demon in her that was operating in her didn't want him to continue sharing the gospel with her, because that's right. He was talking to her and her eyes just all of a sudden like glazed over, and she just got like froze up. And he explains that happens to a couple of people that he talks to sometimes. And what he's discerned from that, and like the whole sermon was on discernment, is that there was a demon operating in this woman, even though she was interested in the gospel. The demon in her, operating in her, was afraid that it wouldn't have a body to live in if this man in front of her continued to share the gospel. Whoa, yo, blow your mind. Does that blow your mind? It blew my mind. And I'm really understanding now that some people we talk to, like, yes, they're that person technically, but sometimes like they're really overridden by an operating spirit. And so some people don't even know that their body's being hijacked, which is like crazy to think about too. We just have to be careful in this time and what places we go into, who we choose to talk to. It's not an easy time to even be remotely like try and be happy, because it seems like if we're happy and we go out into the world, like we get like that mean mug look. So you're like, okay, don't look too happy, like, and like if you share your blessings, like sometimes, like Jack Harlow wrote that song that was like, I'd be discouraged from even sharing my blessings. Some homies like it's like I can't remember which song it was, but like, even Jack Harlow's talked about how like I'd be discouraged from even sharing my blessings. Like some homies talk about me, like there's like resentment. I feel resentment from even some of my homies feeling discouraged to even share some of my blessings or something like that in one of his songs. The song where they're in the diner or whatever. I love Jack Harlow. So it's kind of like a real thing that if like you're doing hot, you're doing, you're doing well. It's so hard for another person to like be happy for you, even if they love you, even if they support you, because in the case that person isn't able to do the work that you've done, so they don't actually like hate you per se. They hate that you made the decision in your mind that you can do this, and that's the hurdle, and that's the block that they haven't overcome mentally, because really anyone can like live the life of their dreams. And I mean that when I say that. Like we have I'm not getting too intense. I'm cracking myself up, but like I take life seriously, but like not too seriously. But I'm trying to say is like we literally can create the lives we want. So doing what we have with where we are, of course. Obviously there are some people born into wealth versus someone who born with nothing, basically, 3 walls and meager meals growing up. Like there's differences of lifestyle and resources available to each person. Say like a country in the Middle East that has hardly any electrical capacity or output, and all the stores close by 8 p.m. and it's just a dead zone, and it's so hot in the country that basically people just try and survive inside, and there's not much happening, versus like someone who's born into a wealthy family, Upper West Side, whose mom and dad are already established singer-songwriters. Yes, I understand the differences that people are born with and have their scenarios, silver spoon, no silver spoon. I get that. I'm saying that regardless of exterior influences, we have the power up here to either do this, put a smile on your face, or like something opposite, like put hate and jealousy into the world. Like this controls this. This is like this and this are connected. So like feel your passion, and then like think of the brainstorming thing that you want to do, and then like create and build yourself up and live the life that you create. And like it's 100% doable in your capacity, and life is what we make it. And I don't want to be like, I've traveled and I've talked to lots of people, but everyone says life is what we make it. When I really get down to it, when I talk with certain individuals from all over the world, life is what you make it. And I'd like to do more travel. I haven't done like a ton, but I've had a few conversations with many, many people, like different kinds of people, because I've done weird travels. Like I'm a traveler. Like it doesn't sound like maybe like I've gone from like here to like Africa and like spend so much time like in world, like other like international places. Like, yes, I've done a couple international, but what I'm saying is like, I can talk to anybody, and I pretty much have my whole life if I was curious enough. And I've always asked questions, and that's something that I will always like about myself, if I may, is that I'm curious and I actually ask the questions. And people have always told me too, I like your questions. You ask good questions. This is why I enjoyed journalism for a couple of years too, and published. I was like front page for that student newspaper for like a year. Like I love journalism and asking questions and having interviews and stuff. And I know I've done videos too before, and like whatever like the problem in your life is right now that you see it as like a problem or something you'd like to improve, how can you educate yourself on how to overcome that? Like Google is like at our fingertips nowadays. I want to do that. And we can literally have our resources to whatever it is we need. You can look up how to fix a dishwasher on YouTube and save $200 from the guy coming or whatever. Like you might like, you know, you might want to get a couple other like resources and help to do like stuff. But the point I'm making is like, you have the power to be very self-sufficient in today's age. Time and place, like today's time and place, like today's day and age. Oh my God, that killed me for a second. I was like, what is the expression I'm trying to say? I love my ADHD. Like I wouldn't be as funny, in my opinion, if I didn't have ADHD. And I also don't think I'd be such a good like singer-songwriter, musician, whatever you want to call it, actor, actress. Like I'm an actress. Don't call me an actor. Like I'm not going to get like super on that, but I think that my ability to feel my ability to feel heightened emotions does make me better an actress. I think that my ability to feel heightened emotions down here can really help me create a really cathartic breakup song. Like for anyone out there that has like labeled like mental health like diagnoses, like it's really not a blemish. Dear sweet sister or brother of Christ, it's not a blemish. Like I really want to feel really strongly to share that. And I'm really happy that we're chilling like 17 minutes, 37 seconds, baby, on this YouTube studio live. It actually says web stream, but your girl just speaking what she feels led to share. And Mark the Messenger had a lot of really good things to say today too. Like if you're quitting weed, then don't be so like hype about it, which is kind of like the mistakes I made in the past. And he even shared that he like relapsed after a year and then went back to being sober and then relapsed again at like another 6 or 7 months. And then he shared that anytime that he wasn't smoking weed, that he felt so clear and so guided and so like so much progress was being made. And he had some really solid points about how it saves money. And apparently when you quit smoking weed, it opens up your pineal gland, which is like your third eye. So you're more open to the spiritual world. So, I mean, what I learned from Mark the Messenger today, like it was, I mean, you guys, have you watched any of his stuff? Like go watch his stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, he's a thinker. I love that. Yeah, thinking. And he was like, I don't watch movies for the entertainment. I watch it for the message. And I was like, whoa, holy shice nets. And then like Shania Twain level of like, whoa. And he said too that in films and stuff, like the Matrix, like what's the message being shared in there? Like when you decide to go with God and like God is your path and you're choosing like the righteous path, that's what kind of like the Matrix was about. Like when you're escaping like the deadly or like the wicked ways and like the world and like the worldly world, and you're like elevating and like choosing this path, and it's like coming from here, and you know that you like see like your beautiful life in front of you with God, like, and nothing can take that away from you. And like when you decide to go and be the chosen one, and like you choose yourself and you choose the path and you accept the mission like from God, not to be like Mission Impossible Tom Cruise, but you guys know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. And like when that happens, like it is like Agents and Perps and the Truman Show. Like it will resemble that like in your life, and you'll get like people disrupting you and I mean all kinds of evil tactics to stop your progress. And that's how powerful Jesus is, right? I was also catching up on New Breed's live, New Breed Global. He's really solid too. Check him out. Actually, yeah, both of these YouTubers today like calmed me down so much. I'm so grateful for them. Maybe one day one of my videos will do that for somebody else. Like it's hard to think that way, but I think that hopefully might have already happened. But I really hope that that's the whole purpose of this whole channel, is to bring encouragement to the world, and love and light and positivity and peace. Encouragement. I'm like a natural encourager. So, but on New Breed's channel today, he showed us a news feed of gang stalkers literally injecting chemicals into their neighbor's home. And yes, of course, this was like down in Florida. No, I'm kidding. But it was in Florida. And yeah, and there's sorry. Yeah. So there's seriously like stuff going on in other people's homes, like to that level. Literally, like I've heard about these things, and like I know that when I first moved here, like the apartment definitely smelled really weird a couple of times, and that was when it was heaviest, like the targeting and the gang stalking. But I always just like breathed out of my mouth and ignored it. But I'm starting to think, was that what that was? So there was like literally this hidden camera caught their neighbor injecting, like he was just like coming up to the front door, and he's like, he looked like a normal guy, but then all of a sudden he just like popped down. He had this like, little syringe thing, and he just like went underneath the door frame, like the little, what do you call that? Like the air, what do you call that? The strip, the window strip, the door strip, the stripping. I don't know, that's man stuff. And he like got underneath that, and then the family got sick. They didn't die, thank God. But there was like a brand new baby, like girl, like a year old, and she was throwing up in like watery eyes from like a disagreement between the two neighbors. Like that's how some neighbors are handling their disagreements, is like poisoning their home. And like the adults got sick too. Like the adults were like stomach aches and like wheezing and stuff. So like literally guys, like this stuff is real. Like there's stuff going on in the world like to that level. So be careful, like really, for those that feel, and this is what also New Breed was talking about, that I'm also gonna I'm gonna walk the walk on that too as soon as I can afford it. But really investing in cameras, because I've had cash taken out of this apartment. I've had a lot of weird things tampered with, things moved around as a targeted individual. My fashion dresses that I designed disappeared and then reappeared, even though they're hanging up on an 8-foot hook. Like the 8-foot tall ceiling has like a hook that was like, came with the apartment. It was like an old fashioned hook from like literally this little, like this apartment was built in like 1848. And there's like an old fashioned hook coming from the ceiling. And I put my 3 dresses that I just designed up there, and then they completely disappeared for like a week. And then they reappeared in the middle of all of my laundry. And I never took those clothes down, because those were the 3 dresses that I designed that I was getting ready to sew together for my fashion line. So that's a perfect example. And I'm glad that God just put that on my heart to share, because I was obviously discouraged to start my fashion line after that happened. But this is the example I'm like, so like, thank you, Jesus, because this is an example that I can share with you guys that I'm choosing to move forward with my fashion line. And I actually have been working on a logo, and I'm in touch with a screen printing shop who has some of my art on file. All I need is just a little bit more formatting for specifics and getting it like on. But I was already like large black hoodie, like the things are in motion. For a while though, that did discourage me, obviously, from starting my fashion line, because I literally cut out, like, I designed my dresses and like they were all ready to be sewed together, and I hung them up on an 8-foot tall hook. I would never take those dresses down unless I was going to sew them. But I was admiring my hard work for like a week or so, and then for 3 weeks I was admiring those dresses. I put a lot of work into them, and then one day they were just gone. And imagine like the chills on my like the hair on my neck standing up and feeling that, like, what? Like I know I didn't move that, because I would have to literally like stand on a chair and like, like get these dresses. Like I knew it wasn't me. So what I'm going to invest in very soon are hidden cameras, or cameras or whatever. There's no reason to be like sneaky about it if I'm saying this on a live, but if you feel like you suffer struggle or a victim of being targeted or gang stalking, and gang stalking is just another word for spiritual warfare, really, really invest in those cameras, because the camera don't lie, and you'll have your proof, and they won't continue to F with you. So I guess this video was a little update and more expose on the reality of being chosen and like the path, and I kind of also wanted to like talk a little bit about how there is no such thing as like real success. And this controversial, but I kind of wanted to back it up with like, there's only as much real success as there is like failure with that success, because we get to certain levels, but it's temporary. And I don't know if I put enough thought into this to like share it, but I'm going to go for it. Is like, you can have first place for a little bit, and you can be in that upper echelon and like have contracts and residuals and passive income and like have that success like in that way. But because the nature of the world and the nature of like flesh and temporary like hedonistic desires, like the only real success is like your relationship with God and how close it is. So don't get too caught up in materialistic symbolisms of what success is. And I know everyone has a different version of success, and I respect that. I'm just sharing with you that everything turns into dust at the end of this life. This body, these eyelashes, these eyebrows, everything's going to disintegrate into dust. And what's left is going to be my soul. And what's going to matter is the way I made people feel while I was here in this body, operating in this spirit. And what matters is that I glorify God's name while I'm operating in this flesh body, while I'm on this La Tierra, on this earth. There are some people that have lived famously successful lives on earth but didn't know God. People that were able to live in hotels their whole lives, they were so financially well off. People that had 7, Maseratis or really expensive taste in cars, and to their peers and to their business colleagues, that is a successful person. That was the emblem, and that is the symbol of success. But what I'm saying is, it's like an 80-year timeline that we have, give or take. And the novelty of these mansions and fancy cars and designer handbags and $500 pair of Jimmy Choo's high heels, it's if anything, if anything, and this is kind of just coming to me, like, purchasing of like those items and like and affluence, like actual affluence, is it's a temporary comfort, and it's, if anything, an alliance to the flesh desires, like of a flesh desire. Like, have you ever thought about how, if the government really wanted us to flourish and thrive, would they have decriminalized weed in most, I don't know how many states have done it now, but what, we're at like 10 or 12 out of 50, right? Like, we're getting up there, right? Like 16, like a good handful, let's just say, of the states have decriminalized weed. Do you really think that if the government wanted us to flourish and thrive, that they would have done that? No. Why do you think the food that is the cheapest is so accessible? Why do you think the food that is so accessible and is the cheapest is the worst kind of food for you? I was like, my friend Isabel a couple years ago told me, we were talking and chatting in like a Shake Shack in New York with a couple of my friends in 2018 when we worked together. She told me about this chemical. It's on Cheez-Its. What's the chemical? Cheez-Its. That make you want that taste again. And it's like chlorophyll. I didn't know. I'm not even saying that. Like many processed snacks, they contain butyl hydroquinone. Acronym is TBHQ, a common preservative used to prolong shelf life. And cheese contains casein, a dairy protein that releases casomorphins, which are plant compounds that trigger dopamine production in your brain. So that's just like a little bit of cheese. But imagine like if they can even do that with like a little bit of cheese, like it triggers dopamine production in your brain. It makes you like, it's kind of like that. I don't know if these are the exact actual chemical names that my friend was referring to, but it's along the same lines of like understanding why all of a sudden the entire bag of chips are gone or Cheez-Its are completely gone. It's like there is like literally a physical, like an actual intentional chemical that's made for us to be like, yeah, it's so good. Gosh, you can't stop. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're intentionally making us like very sick. But it's like labeled with advertising and marketing and stuff. Like, do you think that if the government really wanted what's best for, are we at 32 minutes? Okay, well, I guess we're really getting into it, but I guess we'll wrap it up. I've sort of been on my like little soapbox here, but really this is what I want to drive home. Consider the message and point behind everything. Be skeptical of everything. Like what Mark the Messenger taught me today too is like in the Apple purchase, why is the apple bitten? Right? Like if they really like going back to like evil beginning and origins with the temptation. And then apparently I also learned too, and he said, go look this up. So I haven't looked it up, but I take his word for it, that the first Apple product was sold for, you guessed it, exactly $666. Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of like thinking now, I'm like, right. Like if the government really wanted what was best for us, if the government really wanted to see us thrive and like have us be like well mentally and physically, then they wouldn't put out smoke shops on every corner basically now with an herb that suppresses our third eye. That's like our extrasensory perception. We're literally being like the ducks that are like given food just to be like we're stuffed pig, like we're stuffed ducks, like we're being fed this poison. Why is produce so expensive? We're being fed this poison. We're being normalized to drink every weekend and to rack up our dollars at a bar, where it's normalized for us to give into the worldly distractions of celebrity news. Like those are all, like most celebrities are, I don't want to say everybody, but I feel like most of that is pretty satanic and like affiliation with like a different, not a good path. Not everyone. So there are some really solid, successful people that like haven't gone down the rabbit hole, but I feel like most kind of get tempted with that. And that's kind of the whole thing about if you get famous, you have to watch out for the enemy trying to come snatch your soul, because your like iconic person in itself like has this like attention of so many people. So like Dosha's like recent like new video looks a little demonic, and it's literally called Demons, and like there's like a black hand above her like head, and she's like in a bathtub and she's like covered up like this. So there's so much to be wary for, but really I guess what I want to drive the point home tonight in this video as we wrap up is thanks for tuning in. You're awesome. But also like really consider the source and origin point and motives and origins for like everything. I'm not saying be paranoid. I'm saying be responsibly educated on everything you go to, on anything you involve yourself in. You're responsible for your safety. And I say that with love. I just mean we are responsible for like our awareness. We're responsible for our like levels of ignorance. Like we can choose to be more educated on certain areas that we're just not sure on. Like, don't be like a sitting duck, like be the bold lion. Somewhere in the scripture too, it says that the Holy Spirit makes us bold like the lion. So I just got distracted because I don't know where the heat therapy thing went. But be bold like the lion. Don't be a sitting duck that's stoned or halfway through the bottle, easy to devour by the enemy. That's all you're doing if you're given into those addictions and substances. What you're saying to Satan is that he's welcome in your life, and that it's easy for him to come into your life. That's what you're saying when you are easily giving into substances that you are addicted to. And I know that if smoking and drinking or any substance is like an active habit of yours, then this message will absolutely trigger you. But I understand. Give it some timeline, and then circle back and come to hear it. And I pray that this message does change some hearts on how bad substances are, and how much of a green light it is to Satan to say, come on in. I hope I made my points clear with love and a little bit of humor, and that it was lighthearted, but also like really significant in the points I made. Because I really do want to change the world, and I'm never going to give up on that dream of mine. And whether it be through writing, whether it be through spoken word, I do believe that my life is like a selected path that I chose, and I did I summoned up the courage to say okay, and like I'm ready and I'm prepared, and I will like fight this fight and run this race and not grow weary for Jesus. But I'll tell you guys, man, I was tested today. Like I don't know what it was exactly, but I felt overwhelmed by life, and I really wanted to not have to continue. And it was one of those days where I had to like mentally pull myself together. And I'm so grateful that I have this platform to share my times of weaknesses and of my times of strength with y'all. And that I pray that it's like super, super what you either need to hear now, or it's something that you can come back to later on, and it's healing for you then. But Jesus loves you so much, and he wants to get to know you. He just can't do it if you're kind of putting other priorities, like other substances or other addictive behaviors, in front of him in lieu of his presence. He can't hold your hand if you're holding the joint. He can't hold your hand and uphold you with his righteous right hand if you're willingly sucking down the bottle. You know, like it has to come from within here first to like have God come into our lives and change us. But we have to be the ones to make the decision first. So really question everything, guys, moving forward. And I love you so much. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay chosen. Peace.